FLM, wide open thinking, world-class work, and far-reaching results. Now with locations in Minneapolis, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Washington, D.C. A strategic marketing and communications company dedicated to serving clients who specialize in the business of agriculture and the life of rural communities.
Thank you for joining us for our Washington Week in Review. I'm Spencer Chase, joined as always by Agri-Pulse Senior Editor Phil Brasher, discussing the week that was, agriculturally speaking, in Washington, D.C., and a very busy week as things try to wrap up before Congress takes its two-week Easter recess. You may notice we have a bit of a different backdrop. For just to kind of give you a little bit of an insight how the sausage is made situation, we usually film this in a place in the rotunda in the Russell Building up on Capitol Hill. All of those spots are full in the rotunda. A lot of cameras up on Capitol Hill, a lot of things going on this week, including a lot of things going on with relation to agriculture policy. They're going to have a lot of long-standing implications beyond just discussion this week. And Phil, the first one that we obviously need to talk about is the continuing process of trying to confirm a Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. That vote did not happen this week. It will not happen this week, but we do know when that vote will happen now.
Mark it down, April the 24th, 5:30 p.m. That's when the Senate is now scheduled to vote. That's the first Monday after they return from this two-week recess. No particular controversy about him. It will be very quick and dirty, and I would not be surprised if former Governor Perdue is Secretary of Agriculture that evening, sworn in. I don't imagine they will waste any time at all. The only issue with him, the chairman of the Senate Agriculture Committee, Pat Roberts, worked hard this week. I caught him several times off the floor, back and forth between offices, trying to get Democrats to agree to a vote this week before they went into recess. Didn't work. I don't think it had anything to do with Perdue, really. Had more to do with the fact that the Democrats in the Senate are trying to burn up legislative days so that Republicans can't bring up more resolutions that would kill regulations that were implemented in the last few months of the Obama administration. They've gotten 11 of those resolutions signed into law as of this week, and they would like to keep any more at a minimum.
So there's a big push from a lot of agriculture groups, a lot of agriculture lawmakers to try and get that confirmation to happen before they took this Easter recess. Ultimately, as I'm sure those of you that are news junkies are well aware, a big discussion going on in the Senate right now over the confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch. That's taking up a lot of legislative oxygen in the upper chamber, and
that's why all these cameras are here over here in the side of the Capitol.
Right, and so ultimately it was just a matter of scheduling, and as Phil has mentioned here and reported previously as well. Also want to briefly mention some other things in terms of confirmation hearings. We did see one of those for Bob Lighthizer, for the U.S. Trade Representative. Thought he could possibly clear out of committee, ended up not happening. And then as well as the Food and Drug Administrator, Mr. Gottlieb, thought that could clear out of committee. We did see the hearing, no vote was taken, but look for action to happen on those at some point after the Easter recess. So
right.
What that point is remains to be seen, but look for action there when Congress gets back to town.
Yeah, and it's important this delay is not only does it keep these departments and agencies, FDA and USDA, from having somebody at the top who can make decisions, but until you get the secretary, until you get the commissioner at FDA, the trade representative in place, sworn in place, you can't start filling in those other very important positions below them, the deputy secretary at USDA, the commissioner for foods at FDA, and the chief agriculture negotiator at USTR, the U.S. Trade Representative. So this will start, I know those in agriculture hope this starts a cascade of additional nominations that can start to move through the Senate process. But it's going to take time.
Mm-hmm. And also, there's another thing that's going on in Washington, and that's this looming clock that is ticking towards the end of April, because that is when the current government funding expires. And so there's been a process of going to try and figure out some kind of a continuing resolution, as well as some kind of conversation about how they're going to fund the government in fiscal year 18. And Phil, we're starting to see a little bit more information unfolding about what the government funding mechanism is going to look like going forward and how that's going to impact agriculture.
Right. Well, first, I'm laughing about 2018. Let's just figure out 2017 first. Yeah, the continuing resolution, that stopgap spending bill that's funding the government right now, runs out April the 28th. That's a Friday, and the government shuts down if they don't come to agreement before then. Nobody wants that to happen. So what they are doing right now is the appropriators on both sides of the Hill and the leadership are hard at work on individual pieces of spending bills to fund the rest of fiscal 2017. That's through September 30th. And there are a number of agriculture issues, very important issues actually, that are in play to be dealt with in this bill. People are calling it a cromnibus or an omnibus. Cromnibus because it could be a combination of some continuing resolutions that just maintain 2016 funding levels for some departments and agencies, and then fully fund new spending levels for other departments. We really think that the Agriculture Department and the FDA, who are combined in one bill, will be part of the we'll get a new spending bill.
Mm-hmm. And Phil, is there anything we should watch kind of going commodity by commodity in some of these funding discussions?
Well, I think the biggest single issue, both for the Farm Bill, because it has implications for the Farm Bill, and it has implications for other commodities, and that's cotton. The cotton industry growers are very much trying to get back into the commodity programs of the Farm Bill. What they want and what they're asking for is to get that done through this cromnibus, through this appropriations bill. Not only does that give them some money sooner than they would get from the next Farm Bill, but just as importantly, it creates a baseline or a funding stream to go into the next Farm Bill for cotton. That means to take care of the cotton producers, the agriculture committees won't have to take money from somewhere else because it'll already be there, because or if this fix gets into this appropriations bill. I think there's looking more and more like that might get done.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be certainly something to watch, and important to remember. The chair of the House Agriculture Committee, a Republican from Texas in Cotton Country. Also have the chair of the House Ag Appropriations Subcommittee from Alabama. So a lot of Southern lawmaker influence here, especially on the House side.
And the chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee is from Mississippi.
Right. So as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, not a lot of things happened with immediate impact this week for agriculture policy, but a lot of things with far-reaching results. A lot of things that could have the potential to impact things in future discussions for agriculture policy. And so there's going to be a lot of interesting developments to watch over the next couple of weeks as they take that Easter recess, and then when they immediately return to Washington after that recess for a confirmation vote on a Secretary of Agriculture, and for all the other votes that could follow, and all of the other administrative actions that could
and all
follow.
this budget negotiations to be going on, even though the Senate and House aren't actually in session.
Right.
It's all being done behind the scenes.
Right. So a lot of balls up in the air right now when it comes to agriculture policy, and we at Agri-Pulse will be sure to keep all of them covered throughout the recess and once they return. But I think that's going to do it for this week's news and information in the Washington Week in Review. Certainly appreciate you stopping by and joining us. But for Phil Brasher, I'm Spencer Chase. Have a good one.